Good morning, this is Kent Chase, and today we're going to talk about the initial move of the forward swing. We always call it the downswing, but really we should just call it the forward swing. But anyway, so we've done a lot of different things in the Creating Young Masters series, but now we've been doing full swing the last few weeks, and just to review, we learned there's 5 categories to a golf swing. Category 1, pre-swing. What do we do to set up perfectly properly before getting involved in Category 2, backswing? And we're about to explore if we could start in the right place and then go to the correct place, Category 1 pre-swing, Category 2 backswing, then we could learn what the initial move of the forward swing is all about, which will let us in the next couple of weeks get involved in impact and the way through impact and the value of the proper finish point. So right now the initial move of the forward swing is Category 3. Category 1, we learned how to grip it, we learned how to aim it or align ourselves perfectly properly. We learned how to posture it and the value of proper posture, and we learned where the ball goes in our stance based on what kind of golf shot we're planning on playing. Category 2, from that perfect start, repeating start point. It's got to repeat. It's got to grip it, align it, posture it, ball position it, and then from there, we got to take it to the place. And there's a way, and you're going to have to review Category 2 backswing in the last Creating Young Masters video. So here we go. We've got Category 1 pre-swing, Category 2 backswing. Category 2 backswing means we are in the right place, which creates the availability of the proper arm swing path. The place is an on-plane place. It doesn't have any uniquenesses to it. The problem most golfers have is they're either flat or steep or laid off or crossed up, or there's different hitches in their swing. So we want to eliminate all of that. We want to go right up the plane to the place, and it's a simple place. So I'm going to review a few things. My elbows are X amount of distance from one another right now at what might be called the address position. They're still the same distance apart from one another that they were at address at the point of the backswing, halfway where my left arm is parallel to the ground. That's when the elbows should be equidistant from the ground. So that's a beautiful place. We're going to pass that place, and our elbows are still the same distance from the ground, and we're going to initialize the move with a little hip rotate, or hip bump, we call it, a little hip bump, and then we rotate. And the hips are going to start it. The hips are going to start it from this really good place. We're going to actually hip bump a little bit. That's setting, that's grounding, that's actually getting us from the right side to the left side. So we're transferring our weight while we're staying grounded. Tiger Woods likes to kind of squat into it, a little bit of squat. Beautiful thing. So at impact, after we get from this initial play, from the place to start the initial move of the forward swing, check this out. I'm going to pass through the point at which I took it back. Correctly, the elbows would be that distance apart from one another at the point where the left arm's parallel to the ground. This is a beautiful place. So now I'm going to continue the motion. I'm going to start rotating. Hips go first. I always say hips don't lie. Hips got to go first. Most people, shoulders go first. That gets them in a unique path to the left. People call it over the top. So it's an over the top path when their shoulders go first. Our hips go first, and the hip bump, if we go to the right, we can have the slightly underneath the plane draw path. That's a beautiful thing. Now we're going to be able to explore what we're going to do at the moment of impact. So here we go again. I've set up perfectly properly, Category 1. Category 2, up the plane to the place. Category 3, the initial move of the hip bump, the hip started, and then we're going to find impact, and we're going to explore what impact's all about next week. So now from a different point of view, same exact information. Reviewing Category 1 pre-swing, how to start in the correct place. Reviewing Category 2 backswing, how to take it up the plane to the place, and that way we'd be coming from the place. Category 3, the initial move from the correct place, is what we're talking about today. So I'm going to kind of review from a different point of view something else that's very important. I said it on from this camera angle a moment ago, but on this camera angle, at the point at which my left arm is parallel to the ground, that's called a half swing. That's actually half. My elbows are the same distance they were at address. They're the same exact distance apart from one another at this point in my swing. And believe it or not, I'm going to have them the same distance at the top, and I'm going to have them the same distance here, and the same distance here. It's on future videos, and on the same distance here, all the way to the same distance here. It's a beautiful thing. It makes consistency really easy to achieve. So the way to start this thing back, you'll see in Category 2, recent Creating Young Masters video, the shoulders started back. So the shoulders started back, and eventually the hips got to go. So we try to maximize our shoulder turn, 90 degrees. We try to minimize our hip turn because we get more torque. So people like Tiger Woods are able to have only 30-degree hip turn, maybe even 25, while he's got 90-degree hip turn. And then what Jim McLean deemed to be the X factor stretch. He called it the X factor, the difference between how much the shoulders rotated and how much the hips rotated. And his idea, which was pretty cool, if you could maximize the shoulder turn and minimize, you've created a big difference. So let's say the normal person would go, and the normal tour pro would go 90-degree shoulder turn, 45 hip. So he found that if the hips were only 35 or 30, or Tiger Woods maybe 25, now there's a big difference between the 20, let's say it's 30 because it's easier math. That's a 60-degree difference between the shoulder turn and the hip turn. Now, here's the X factor stretch, what Jim McLean called this X factor stretch. Remember I told you the hips started down, a little hip bump and a little rotation. Now, Tiger has like maybe 10 degrees of hip rotation the other way. He stretched it. So now there's 70 degrees of difference between the shoulder turn and the hip turn. That's torque, which you can unleash and maximize your potential to deliver more speed to the ball. That's great news. The only issue we have with that is that people, it's harder on the body. So your career might not last as long. So we're careful on some of those kind of things. For a young kid, yeah, let him have some X factor stretch. That's a good idea. For an older person, probably it'd be better to let your hips turn a little bit so you can have freedom of motion and don't hurt yourself. So basically, with that being said, now I'm going to take a golf swing. Shoulders went first to the place. I'm in the place. Hips go first. A little hip bump, rotation, bam. And then we're going to be able to talk about impact and way through. Coming soon. Thank you very much.
This is Ken Chase. Be sure to get a copy of my book, If I Only Had a Mulligan. It is a process I use for developing highly competitive and successful players. Over 50 state high school champions, over 50 scholarships awarded, U.S. Kids World Champions, U.S. Junior Champions, U.S. Amateur Champions, PGA and LPGA Touring Professionals. Make the most of your time. Remember, how you learn is just as important as what you learn.